Hello again, I'm Robin Wimborne and this is a quick video tutorial covering the install process for webCoRE, the web-enabled community's own rule engine, developed by Adrian Karamaliou on behalf of the Samsung SmartThings community. If you haven't already seen my webCoRE introductory video, please check that out. I'll put a link in the description below. I'll also include links to the webCoRE wiki and community forum, where you'll find a wealth of support and community guidance. It's hard to find the time, but I'm hoping to make a lot more of these videos, so please click like and subscribe if you want to see more. This is a new channel and it really does help. So first things first, I'm going to browse to the SmartThings IDE, which is at graph.api.smartthings.com. For simplicity, I've just added a bookmark to the top of my page, but for the benefit of users, I'll put a link in the description below. So let's go ahead and log in. Type in your email address and click next. Now I haven't created a Samsung account yet, so I'm just going to go straight into SmartThings and sign in. The SmartThings architecture is built up around a couple of different regional servers, which SmartThings calls Shards, and because I'm in the UK I need to be using the EU shard, as otherwise webCoRE won't appear in the SmartThings app. There's also 2 US shards and a few others that were introduced fairly recently. To check that you're using the correct shard, go to the My Locations tab, click on your home location, and that will push you into the correct shard. Now you can see at the top of the page here, my URL has changed to EU01, EU West 1, so that tells me that I'm working in the EU shard. As this video is going to cover a fresh install of webCoRE, I've created a brand new SmartThings account and I've just added a few devices to help with the demo. I've also created a new Github account ahead of time, and I'm going to show you how to integrate that with your SmartThings account. If you're on one of the US shards, you'll now be able to go straight to the My Device Handlers tab, and you'll see the GitHub options at the top of the page. But for users like me on the EU shard, our GitHub integration is disabled by default, and we have to jump through some extra hoops to get it all working. Users in the US can ignore the next few steps, and I'll let you know when to start listening again. The rest of us, to activate GitHub integration in the EU, you need to browse to the activation page in the SmartThings IDE, but they don't make it easy for us and the page is hidden. I've placed a link in the description below which will take you directly to the activation page. You need to be logged into the IDE before clicking the link. I've got it bookmarked for the video, but we only need to click it the once, so there's no need for you to do the same. So I'll go ahead and click on the link, which brings us to step 1 in the process. We need to give SmartThings access to our GitHub accounts, and to do this we click on the connect link at the top of the page. We can then log into GitHub using the account that I set up earlier, and you need to click the Authorize SmartThings Community button. For stage 2 we need to fork the SmartThings repository into our GitHub account. So once again, click on the link at the top of the page, which takes you to the SmartThings repository. Click Fork at the top right corner, and then we need to wait for it to complete. And it says just a few seconds, but it generally takes a bit longer than you might expect. So there we go, that's done. We can return to the IDE tab at the top of the page, click Next, and that's it. GitHub integration set up and we're ready to go. So we can browse to the My Smart Apps tab. What we can see is that the GitHub buttons have appeared. So we've got Settings, Update from Repo, and Commit Changes, which tells us that the GitHub SmartThings integration was successful. This is the point our friends in the US can start listening again. Go to Settings, and what we can see is the dummy GitHub account that I created and integrated with SmartThings earlier. We want to add the webCoRE repository to this list, so we'll go ahead and add a new repository. Now at this point I've recorded this particular section of this video 5 times, because every time I click a button on the keyboard with backspace, my voice goes all garbled. So I'm going to go really backwards here and use cut, and to avoid typing anything, I'll put the details in. Now these details can be found in the description at the bottom of the page, and they're also on the webCoRE wiki. So we've got owner, AD624, name, webCoRE, branch is the default master, and we can go ahead and click save on that. We can now go to update from repo, select webCoRE master, and we can see the 4 parts of the webCoRE Smart App sitting there ready to be installed. Now a common mistake that a lot of users make is that they go ahead and install all 4 at the same time, but that would just throw up an error. We need to install the webcore.groovy file first, and then we can go back and install the others. So we'll tick the box next to webCoRE, tick publish, and then execute. So we can see that the webCoRE part of the Smart App's been installed. So we'll go back into update from repo, webCoRE master, tick the other 3 parts of the Smart App, tick publish, and execute update. We need to enable OAuth for the webCoRE part of the Smart App so that the various components of webCoRE can talk to each other. So we'll go into Edit Properties, expand OAuth, enable OAuth, and then we'll click Update. If we now go back to My Smart Apps, you'll see that we've got a true underneath OAuth, so we've done that part successfully. Now if you want to use the mobile presence part of the webCoRE Smart App, you're going to need to install the device handler as well, so we'll go to My Device Handlers, update from repo, webCoRE master, and this time instead of the Smart Apps we see the device handlers, and we've got the webCoRE presence sensor device handler sitting just there. We'll tick publish, and again execute update. So that's everything we need to do on the IDE side of things. We now need to go ahead and fire up the SmartThings mobile app, and I'll pick you up from there. So here we are in the SmartThings mobile app, and we can crack on and install webCoRE. So we'll go to the Automations tab at the bottom, which is the tick inside a house. We'll then go to the Smart Apps tab, and we can click Add a Smart App. On this page you see all of the standard Smart Apps that SmartThings makes available for us by default, and at the bottom you've got the My Apps option, which are the custom apps. So here we've got the 4 parts of webCoRE that we just installed in the IDE. We only need to worry about webCoRE at the top. The other 3 portions, the dashboard, piston and storage, we don't need to install those. So we'll click on webCoRE, we get a welcome screen, we can click next, and here you can choose the name that you want to give this instance of webCoRE. You can have multiple instances if you want, give them different names, and then you need to read through the information carefully, make sure that you understand it. At the bottom you need to set a password, which is what you'll use to access the online portion of the webCoRE dashboard, and we'll click next. This next page you can select the devices that you want webCoRE to work with. So first off we've got which actuators, so that'll be your light switches, and in my example here I've got kitchen and living room. Now these are just simulated devices that I've set up on a virtual hub, and we need to select sensors, and I've set up front door, motion sensor and a presence sensor. We'll click done to that. Now if any of your devices don't come up under actuators or sensors, you can scroll down and there's lots of other sections that you might be able to find them, but 95% of devices should appear under an actuator or a sensor. So let's move on and click next. Get the final confirmation page, click done, and that's it. webCoRE's installed. Now to access webCoRE and the online dashboard, you need to go back into the webCoRE app, and we can select register a browser. This brings up a code that we can use one time only on the website, so we'll make a note of that code, and now we'll return back to the computer desktop. Okay, so we're now back on my laptop, and we could have easily done this on the mobile browser, but I find it's a lot easier to record the screen on my laptop. We need to browse to the webCoRE dashboard, and once again I've got a bookmark at the top of the page, but the address is dashboard.webcore.co. On this page you need to enter the unique code that we generated in the SmartThings app, and you can ignore the username, password sections, they're there for a future addition to webCoRE. So I took a bit too long to type in that code. There is a 3-minute timeout on the temporary code, so I've gone into the SmartThings app, generated a new code, and I've typed it in there. So we'll go ahead and click register. The next page asks for the password, and that's the password that you entered during the webCoRE install process on the SmartThings mobile app. For me, that's already entered, so I'll go ahead and click authenticate. And here we are. This is the webCoRE dashboard. From here you can start building your pistons. We've got add a new piston on the top left here. We can start with a blank piston. We can restore a piston using a backup code, and that's the codes that are being shared on the various forums. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you soon in a future installment.